Welcome back to Racing Today, the place to be for the spirit of South African horse racing. We are celebrating the Day of Love here on the show through the relationship between humans and horses. They've always said a dog is a man's best friend. Well, a horse must be a close second. We have a horse trainer, I want to say whisperer really, Robin Moolman with us in the studio. Robin, I understand that whisperer is not the correct terminology, is it?
No, not quite. Although a lot of people refer to me as whisperer. I don't keep it to myself. I actually prefer to teach people what I'm doing so they can do it themselves with their own horses and clients. So,
And how did you get into this? This is so interesting to me.
I had a horse as a child that I fell in love with that wasn't for sale. And then I eventually bought it after it threw its owner off and broke his back. And my instructor at the time couldn't fix the horse, and I Googled less traditional approaches to training, and I found methods that worked that were more holistic, and I went down a rabbit hole of learning from horsemen and horsewomen across the world. Yeah.
Do you think this discipline can be taught? I mean, is it something that you can go to like an academy and be taught how to deal with horses the way that you've certainly learned how to?
Most definitely. You can definitely learn the techniques and training techniques of how to deal with horses so that they understand clearer what it is you're asking.
Can you whisper to this gentleman here that I want his tie collection eventually at some point? Because he doesn't want to share it with me.
No, she's only any good at whispering to horses, okay? We don't need to get into on Valentine's Day the human whispering element.
Exactly.
Okay?
What do you think about this fantastic work that she does?
It's amazing because these people like Robin have a special feel for a horse. Most people don't have that sort of connection that you have with a horse, and you can see exactly how to fix a problem that a horse has, because she doesn't deal with horses that are nice and quiet and well behaved like you and me, Benny. She deals with ones that are completely out of control, in whichever way they might be out of control. The interesting thing is, I had a horse that you couldn't give an injection to. Could you fix that horse?
Sure, I could. I'd have to see it first, but yes, I've dealt with quite a few injection horses.
Circumstances that you would be called out to come and deal with horses? I mean, you mentioned one being a horse that doesn't want to be vaccinated, but under what circumstances do you get called to come and work with these animals?
So horses that don't want to go in starting stalls or horse boxes, narrow confined spaces, horses that rear or stand up on their back legs, horses that are unable to be handled or led from A to B, horses that bite and kick, horses that don't stand still to get on, horses that don't accept being bridled and putting that bridle on over their head and they lift their head up. So general behavioral issues that people struggle with, anything really. So needle shy horses, horses that kick when you try and do their feet,
Typically, what type of horses do you deal with, though? I mean, obviously here we're fascinated by the athletes on the track, but does that go beyond just race horses, or do you deal with other horses, maybe even private ownership as well?
Yeah, so a lot of private ownership, a lot of commercial ownership, a lot of business yards, studs, raising young horses from scratch, teaching them the foundation training they need so that doesn't ever get to that point of having an 8, 9, 10-year-old horse that has still got this issue. So foundation training, multidiscipline, dressage, jumping, you name it, any discipline. A horse is a horse. We shape them into which path they want to go.
You decide what career they're gonna take up. Yeah. James, what do you think a trainer could learn from what Robin does? Because I feel like trainers' relationship with horses could benefit greatly from what she does.
Oh, an enormous amount, because this is something that's out of the wheelhouse of a normal trainer. Trainers know how to get horses fit and ready to race, but we often get horses as an ex-trainer that just have a quirk that you don't know how to get past. Now, this is a special gift, as I say, because you've got to be able to see this. And I've sat there pulling my hair out. How do I get this horse to do or to accept what I wanted to do? And this is the type of person that we need. We need someone like Robin to be able to call up, say to her, come, I've got this problem. and she can look at the horse and work with the horse and then tell me how to work with the horse. Because you tend to get quite stereotyped as a trainer. This is just thinking completely out the box. And I think that's fabulous. Most trainers should be using you.
What are some of the stories that you could share with us? I mean, do you have anything similar to what James has just described? I imagine with the sheer volume of horses that you deal with all over the continent, by the way, you said that you travel a lot. What are some of the stories that stick out to you, especially in this month of love that we're in?
Sure. Oh, wow. There's so many. Yeah, like James was saying, you know, I used to go in and fix a problem myself and, you know, get pulled around a little bit and dodge some kicks and some hooves and whatnot. But you go home quite tattered and bruised and stuff. So now my passion is actually empowering the equestrian, whether it be another trainer, a coach, a rider, a jockey, to show them and teach them the techniques so that it doesn't end up going back to where it was. So to actually teach and transfer the knowledge and the techniques to the actual owner and trainer. But yeah, there's so many stories. I remember the one story, the horse, I had to work together with the vet because the horse would be fine for its owner to vaccinate or inject. But the moment the vet got out of his car, the horse started rearing. So it didn't wait till the vet was close enough to put the needle in. It associated that phobia with the vet, with the person. So I had to work with the vet because he had to do the passports, you know, he had to give the horse the vaccinations. So I had worked closely together with him and showed him the techniques so the horse could accept him vaccinating
That's
horse.
fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Absolutely
They're very
fascinating.
clever.
I do want to ask you this, Robin. Say I owned a horse or I just bought a horse. What are some of the tips that I should know just right off the bat, even if I'm not intending to be a jockey or whatever else you wanna call it? What are some of the tips, just basic tips that I should have or knowledge I should have to deal with a horse, especially if I don't know its temperament yet?
There are definitely courses out there where you can study body language. So just like the love languages where people learn, like, you know, to get along well together. If you understand the kind of ways the horse's body changes, trying to communicate to you how it's feeling, if it's feeling afraid, if it's feeling that it wants to get away, if it's feeling safe and relaxed, then you'll be able to learn how to adapt your body language so that that horse can accept what it is you're trying to do for it and to it. So definitely taking some sort of course on understanding horses' body language and then how to adapt your body language so that the horse can perceive you as not in a threatening way. Yeah.
Well, we're in the month of love. As you can see, James is certainly dressed to go out on a date this evening. Speaking of love between man and animal, what would you say to somebody out there who is still, you know, trying to see whether they want to jump into the sport, into this discipline, into this equine world, just along the lines of love?
What would I say?
Yeah.
If you really want to learn a lot about yourself and improve your own emotional fitness and get to know your character and build your character, I think getting a horse is the way to go because they will bring you down to earth and down to the ground and then they'll bring you back up again in a more humble way. So it teaches you a lot about yourself. So if you want to grow as a human being, I think getting a horse will be the way to go.
James, do you echo those sentiments?
Oh, yes, horses. Obviously, my whole life's been horses. And, you know, you find people in horses are so passionate, and Robin's exactly the same. She's got her path, which is helping people to understand their horse and get the best out of it. And that is so important because unless you have a real relationship with a horse, you'll never get the best out of it.
Absolutely.
So you should be talking to every person that ever owns a horse. And Benny, when you get a horse, the first person you should be talking to is Robin.
Well, it will assist us greatly if we can have your details, Robin, for our viewers. How do our viewers reach you online? I know that you have a presence online and some interesting videos to look up as well, because I'm very, very interested in the subject.
Yeah, so you can get in touch online. You can Google Equine Lingo. I've got an online platform where you can subscribe to getting all the training videos. And then I've got a normal website if you want me to come and coach you or help you with the horse problem in person. So all my details are online and out there. Equine Lingo, yeah.
Equine Lingo, I like that name.
Yeah,
So
great.
lingo is for communication.
Yeah, I like lingo. What do you
Well,
think?
we're certainly going to communicate more after the break. I really enjoy learning and understanding the big wide world of horse racing. I'm always pleasantly surprised that the language used to communicate between trainers, horses, jockeys, and grooms, it's a whole wide world out there. After the break, we show some love to one of horse racing's most respected trainers and professionals. But before that, remember, if you have any questions, comments, or even picks for an upcoming race, then shoot them at us on our socials, and I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back to Racing Today, where the spirit of South African horse racing lives and thrives. I must say, I've been schooled in the language of love today. Here's a very special message for one of Mzansi's finest. Take a look at this.